Start now. Hi, this is Elvis, and I'm back with another segment of the program, Brewing It Up with Elvis and Dave. But Dave is no longer with us anymore. Tell you the truth, we don't know where he went. After that last batch of alcohol we made, he technically bottled it and took off. Haven't seen him since. So, tell you it's just me now. Sorry about that, but you know what? I'll get back to you on another batch, and we'll show you how to bottle it at home and all that. Today we're sitting outside of Brew It Up, located in Davis, California. And inside we're going to meet two extraordinary people who know how to brew on their own and actually can help you brew your own beer. Their names are Mike and Bo. And right now we're going to go inside and talk to them and show you how, if you're on your own, you can make your own beer. Okay? Let's go inside. All right. Okay. Brew It Up in Davis, California. And just before we go on to show you everything else, I wanted to show you this. Everybody loves homebrew. Now, election time's coming up, and this man right here just loves the brew too. But I think that's actually an it's probably scanned in wrong. But we just wanted to show you that and just show you around. Here's some different style glasses for beer. As you see, some grain and some capping utilities, and I guess we have some malt. Yeah, we have some concentrated malt in here in these barrels. So when you brew it up, like that thick syrup we saw last time that looked kind of like a molasses. And here's a capper over here. And this place has a lot of different stuff. Actually, has quite a bit of different stuff. And it looks like you can actually bottle your beer. Interesting, okay. Here's some bottles. It looks like they're drying the bottles right now for to bottle some beer pretty soon. And there's a carboy, some grain, different kinds of labels. I guess they do labeling here, so if you want to come in and make your own labels, for some reason or another, like, this kind of looks like me, huh? Hey, Jack Boy. Or, he's Jack Boy. So any kind of label I guess you'd want. They got bottle caps, they got everything. Then, looks like they have the grain malt, and here comes Bo. This is Bo, and he owns this place,
No,
I take it.
Mike Costello is the owner.
Mike Costello is the owner?
I'm the manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been brewing?
I've been brewing probably about 7 years. I started as a wee tyke in high school, making high alcohol, cidery, very sweet beers for the friends in high school.
Oh, okay.
And it was popular for all the wrong reasons.
Okay. That's for the great reasons. You want to see... all right, well, why don't you show us around the place? Show us what you do here exactly, step by step. Are you involved in that? You know how to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And also, I have one question. How old do you have to be to come in here and brew it up?
Well, technically, you don't have to be any age to brew, but to bottle, when you take out the finished product, you need to be at least 21.
Okay.
Right.
So you can brew at any age,
You can brew at any age, but you have to be 21 to bottle.
Okay. All right,
Right.
so you want to take us through some steps?
Absolutely.
On when you first come in to basically what happens as you go around? Okay.
Absolutely. Well, the first step that we would do is when you come in to brew, we're going to ask you what your favorite style of beer is. You may be a fan of like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. You may be a fan of like a Red Wolf or something along those lines. You may even be a Bud drinker. And we can make a pretty close reckoning to Bud.
Sorry.
Most people don't come in to make Budweiser.
No,
though.
I don't think so. Okay. So if I come in, I'm just an average Joe and I want to brew it up. I come in, and what's the first thing that we do?
Well, first thing we do is find out what you want to make.
Okay, if I want to make, how about a Hefeweizen?
You want to make a Hefeweizen.
Yeah.
Interesting characteristic is that all of our beers are filtered. We don't do unfiltered wheat beers.
Okay.
So we can do a Hellesweizen or a pale wheat beer, which would be very similar to a Hefeweizen, except it wouldn't have the Hefe or the yeast in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we can't do that.
We can't do an unfiltered wheat beer, but we can do a filtered wheat beer.
Okay, so you filter all your beers?
Absolutely, down to 1 micron.
So
Oh, wow.
Very clean and clear. Unlike homebrew, not a lot of sediment in the bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you saw my show previously, you saw that filter, all that filter stuff in the bottom. That's
Trub.
Yeah, all the trub. Long day. Okay. So how about a pale ale?
A pale ale. You want to do like a Sierra Nevada, something along those lines?
Yeah, Sierra
a little paler,
Nevada.
a little darker, a little more orange in color.
Okay.
Something like that.
Little bit orange, more orange in color.
Orange in color. How about the aroma? Floral bouquet. Do you want it to not a big aroma?
I want a nice aroma.
Nice aroma.
Nice, sweet aroma.
Moderate, sweet aroma.
Sweet aroma.
And what about the bittering? Do you want it to be bitter?
Very bitter. Very bitter. I like beer like I like my women. Tall, dark, and bitter.
Tall, dark, and bitter.
so
a porter man you are.
Well, I made a porter before. ESBs.
ESBs. Oh, great.
But,
oh, great. Well, then I would probably steer you towards our Brew It Up ESB.
Okay.
It's our Brew It Up Extra Special Bitter.
Okay.
It's a fairly bitter beer. It's in the pale ale styles, or in the UK bitter pale styles.
Okay.
So that we would probably steer you towards that. That's a grain brew.
Okay.
And we do two types of brew here at Brew It Up. We do extract brews and grain brews.
Okay.
And a grain brew, you'll take.
Do you want to show them what the grain is?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're
going to go look at the grains.
14 different varieties of grain. And range in roasted colors from our very pale malts to like a caramel 90, and this is a caramel 90 malt. Even to our darker black malts like black malt, which is very dark in color.
Hey, and it's black.
Would be used for a stout.
Oh yeah.
Or a porter. Yeah, so we range in different kinds of malts. Those are both barley malts. We also have wheat malt. Wheat malt's very golden in color, and a lot harder. The grain itself is actually a lot.
You don't have
more
rice or
solid.
corn, do you?
We don't have rice or corn. We don't brew with corn, with the exception that we do have some corn solids that are in our golden lager, which is a pre-produced malt extract by Brees Malting of Wisconsin.
Okay.
Right, but we do have rice extract.
Because I know you said you brew Budweiser, so
we can make Budweiser. We make it the easy way with rice extract.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say, because I know they don't use. Well, I guess they use a mixture of barley, don't they? But mainly it's corn and rice.
Some barley, some corn, some rice.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna check on this gentleman's kettle right now.
Okay.
Forgive me for a second.
Can we actually look what you're doing? Take a look over there.
You might want to be careful with the camera lens. It might get a little bit foggy. Got 198 degree steam coming out of the top of the kettle. And we're heading up to around 210, 211 where this kettle will boil, and we'll have the wort boiling. Once it begins boiling, we'll add the boil hops. And we're going to begin gathering those now. If you want to follow us over to the fridge, we'll show you the hops.
Sure. Here we go. Now, what kind of hops do you use? Do you use pellets or do you use leaves?
We use pelletized hops. They're really ideal for our system. And at any time in the year, pelletized hops will typically be more consistent and fresher than whole hops will be. For instance, at the end of the hop season, we'll have whole flower hops. Will not be anywhere near as fresh or have the aroma that our pelletized hops do, because the pelletized hops have the oil sealed inside the pellets, and they're also sealed in nitrogen sealed vacuum bags. Okay. So they tend to keep for longer. So at the end of the 95 year, we still have good fresh hops.
Where do you get your hops at?
We get our hops from John I. Haas, and John I. Haas is a major hops grower from the Yakima Valley in Washington.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to get some now.
So we'll follow this gentleman. This is an ordinary Joe doing a Brew It Up, and they have to refrigerate the hops because it keeps just a lot better.
The 3 hops that you're going to use in your recipe.
Getting into this.
The 2 hops you're going to use in your recipe. You're going to use 60 grams of Northern Brewer and 35 grams of Hallertau. Northern Brewer is a hop that is specific to Washington. Originally grown in the Yakima Valley, and it's been a Washington hop. Don't remember exactly what year it was commissioned by the USDA as a hop variety in the United States, but it is a U.S. hop. We're also going to use Hallertau, and our Hallertau does not come from Hallertau, Germany, but also from the Yakima Valley in Washington. It's a close cousin to the Hallertau from Germany, though.
Okay. So it's not authentic. It's
not authentic, but darn
close enough.
We do have some authentic hops, such as our Czech Saaz, and our Czech Saaz are imported from Czechoslovakia.
Okay. And just an interesting fact tidbit: did you know that hops is related to the marijuana plant? It's in the same family, but it has not the same effect really. But if you are allergic to marijuana, you also can be allergic to hops. I guess they're going to right now measure out exactly how much he needs.
And if
The fancy scale.
is serious about measuring his hops, it's nice to get a portable digital gram scale. We measure our hops in grams, and I can also instantly convert that to ounces. It's nice when we have homebrewers come in that have a recipe that we want to. They tell us we want to make a pale ale. We can take one of our recipes, scale it back to their size, and adjust from grams to ounces. 1.25 ounces would be a typical boil hop amount, half ounce for mid hops, and 0.75 ounces for finish hops. That would be a standard hopping size or quantity for a homebrew batch.
How many gallons
for a 5-gallon batch of homebrew? Right. We brew a 12.5-gallon batch, so our hops are a little bit more.
So here it's 12.5 gallons that you brew?
12.5 gallons of brew.
Well, go ahead.
And we're going to go in with 60 grams of Northern Brewers. So I'm going to tear the scale, and it's reading 0 now. And we've got 58.5, so just a little bit more will get us to 60.
That was quick.
Went quick.
Boy, that was real quick.
And contrary to a lot of homebrew recipes, it does not take a lot of hops to get a good hoppy flavor in your beer. The most important key factor in getting good hop flavor is actually in your flavoring hops and aroma hops. If I were going to bump up the hops in any recipe, I wouldn't bump up my bitter, but I'd bump up my aroma hops. The aroma hops will give you the nose of having a hoppy flavor, and that will almost convince your palate that it's bitter, where the beer doesn't have to be necessarily as bitter and is more palatable on the back end. Okay. Yeah.
So just remember that. And there'll be a quiz on that later.
Grams for the Northern.
60 grams, oh, sorry.
So,
Closing up the wrong one, and then we're going to get 35 grams of Hallertau. A little bit more.
So how long has this place been open?
We've been open for about 3 months now, and we've had about 250 brews go through the system already.
So you've been doing pretty well.
We've been doing pretty well, and the beer's good.
So how long after I come in on the first initial day am able to come in and bottle my beer and take it home?
Well, in a typical BOP or brew on premise like Brew It Up, you'll come in and you'll spend about an hour and a half to 2 hours brewing.
Okay.
And that's if you're doing an extract brew. If you're doing a grain brew, like we talked about with your Brew It Up ESB, which is where we actually start from a partial mash,
okay.
It'll take about 3 hours, about an hour of mashing and about 2 hours of brewing with extract.
Okay.
And we're doing right now the Czech Golden Brew, which is it's a lager beer. It's going to be done in a lager style, and we do have a 54-degree lager room for lagering beer. So a lot of homebrewers like to come in here and do their lagers.
Yeah, especially in the summertime.
It's tough to do lagers in California in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're doing a lager beer, and this is an all-extract brew.
Okay.
So we've already got the extract in the kettle. We're heading up towards boiling, and we're going to be adding our boil hops in just a few minutes here.
And what we're doing now is we're going to ask Bo some more questions. For the time being, it's kind of busy right now, but let's, I have no idea. This is a bottler CO2. Basically, when they're bottling, what they do, or actually what a home brewer does, or anybody who brews their own beer, is they want the least amount of oxygen so your beer doesn't get oxidized in there. So what they do is they use a little CO2, put the bottle in there, put a little bit of CO2 in the bottle, actually, and then they fill it up, and then they're able to fill the beer in there and then cap it with a little capper right next to it. But I'm sure Bo, and then you just come down, and I'm sure Bo will explain all that to us just a little bit shortly so we can get his attention, because right now he's with a customer brewing some beer. So let me see if Bo is okay. Keep going? Okay.
We're not a contract brewer because we're not a fine brewery.
We'll be right back. We just took a short little break, tried some beer, whatever. I just wanted to ask some questions as far as what's the most popular beer when somebody comes in here to brew that have you seen so far?
The most popular beer is the most popular one that you like to brew. So,
Was that a cocky answer?
well, we have over 60 recipes, so if you're looking to make something that we can definitely help you.
What is the most popular?
We've got a bunch that are pretty popular. That our 6X Pale Ale seems to be. It's kind of a lighter version of like a Sierra Nevada. It's a light pale ale, moderate hopping, mild aroma, and very mild bittering. It's a little bit sweet. Tends to be a good all-around favorite. We've also got some grain brews that have been favorites. Our Daredevil Red. It's a really nice, sweet, hoppy, full-bodied, nice, good, big mouthfeel red ale.
What's your favorite?
My personal favorite?
Yes.
The one in my hand.
Okay.
The one in my hand, I'll tell you it's my favorite beer.
Okay, all right. We'll just leave it at that. Actually, which one is the most easy to make as far as the hardest, most difficult to make?
Any of our extract brews are very, very simple. The whole process here is pretty simple. As far as your time that you're going to invest in doing a BOP brew, the grain brew is going to take the longest at about 3 hours, and an extract brew will take only about an hour and 45.
So once again, the grain is in these containers.
Big grain.
And then
the extract we get in large 55-gallon drums from Breeze Malting. Each drum weighs about 650 pounds. It's not something you'd want to haul up the stairs to your second floor apartment.
But if you could.
Great on pancakes.
Sweet. Also, they also have a variety of different malt extracts.
We do have a variety of malt extracts. All of our malt extracts are pure concentrated brewer's wort. And concentrated brewer's wort is basically barley malt, wheat malt, and water. If it's not concentrated brewer's wort, it doesn't fall within the Reinholdsgebot law of 1513, the beer law, German beer law. It's
a little history.
The little beer history here. The German beer law of 1513, or the Reinholdsgeboten, says that all beer should be 4 ingredients. It should be barley malt or wheat malt, yeast, water, and hops. And so a true traditional brewer's wort is only barley malt, wheat malt, yeast, water, and hops, if you're going to do that.
So do you know where the first beer was made and who made it?
Well, the first beer that was made was probably made by accident from barley cakes that were getting a little bit old in clay pots in Egypt. That's the best that we know about the origins of beer.
And it's been popular ever since.
And it's been popular ever since. Somebody picked up some funny smelling water out of an oak or out of a clay cask and drank it and had a funny feeling and kind of liked it.
Cool. What I want to ask you now, okay, so after we went ahead and did all this, we got our wort and we're ready to let it cool down. Where do we take the beer? And as far as like a customer, where do I go? I mean, I don't sit here for 2 weeks and let it, or what is the actual procedure that you guys do?
So we've got 206-degree wort in the kettle, and this is one of the big problems for home brewers is cooling their wort.
Okay.
We have a nifty little immersion, or not an immersion wort cooling system, but a heat exchange system. And I'll take you over there and show you that now if you like.
Okay, all right. Let's go.
This is our heat exchange system. We've got wort that comes in from our wort line down here. Hot wort coming in at 206 degrees. It's pumped by the wort pump up through a rough hops filter. This hops filter is back flushable, so that we get some rough hops in there. We can flush them out again. We don't have to change the filter every time we do it. It goes from the hops filter down into this big blue block, which is our heat exchanger.
Okay.
And there are metal tubes running inside of metal tubes in there. Mm-hmm. We have a two-stage heat exchanger. The first stage is run by our reverse osmosis water, and that's coming in at about 70 degrees, and that's the water that you're going to brew with, or the next brewer is going to brew with.
Okay.
And so we take that 70-degree water, we run it past your wort, coming by at 206 degrees, and it raises the temperature of that brew water to about 140. So we preheat the water for the next brews by running the wort past it, so we save on a little bit of energy.
Hey,
and
pretty smart.
We think so. And the second stage is that we'll take chill water, and we have a chiller, very much like the chiller in your icebox in your refrigerator. If you got one of those little things that squirts water out at you, we get chill water that comes out. And I'm going to turn on the chiller now. We get chill water that comes out at
how cold?
40 degrees.
And it just cools it straight down.
Cools it straight down.
So it goes from 70 to 40 degrees. Basically, you first of all, you flush it with 70-degree water.
Comes down, brings the wort down to about 140, and we run 40-degree chill water by it, and it comes down to about 68. So we go from 206 to 68 like that.
Sweet. And do you adjust for ale or lager, or is it just you just use the same?
We go down to 68 because we're going to keep a lager in our ale room overnight, get the yeast kind of going, and then we'll move it into the lager room. And we do lager at 54 degrees, and we do ales at 68.
Okay. So where do you? 54, really? Wow. Wow. Where do you pitch the yeast, and where do you, as far as move into containers and stuff like that?
We pitch the yeast right here. The customer has to pitch the yeast because we're a brew on premise. The customer has to have all of the active participation in actually doing the brew and in getting the fermentation process going.
So where does he put it in after it's boiled and
Customer will put it in. We'll have a plastic fermenter much like this with a sealed lid on top.
Okay.
With a food grade plastic liner inside. The wort will go into into this vessel, and this will be your fermenter. It'll ferment inside this. We use a food grade plastic liner so that we can have quick cleanups and no off flavors in the beer or what have you. But it works pretty well.
So after
we have over 1,000 square feet of cold storage back behind you there, and we'll let it ferment in our ale room or in our lager room, respectively, if you're doing an ale or a lager, for 2 weeks or 6 weeks, respectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just depending on the beer that you make.
Takes about 2 to 6 weeks to.
And do you change it from the primary fermenter to the carboy, or?
We use one fermenter.
Just one fermenter? Just a primary fermenter?
Just a primary fermenter.
Okay.
And it works pretty darn good.
And so, and then I come back after 2 weeks, and from there?
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be done. No problem, no worries. Okay, so I come back after 2 weeks, and then you bring it out, and then we go to bottle it, and we go to the bottling station.
We go to the bottling station.
Which I showed you earlier. And we just, from there, just bottle the beer, and then I can take it home that day, right?
You can actually drink it right there. There's no bottle conditioning necessary, and you can drink it as you're bottling.
So you can drink the whole 5 gallons if you'd like here in this place. No, you don't have an alcohol.
we'll call you a cab.
If okay. Tipsy taxi. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we'll be right back, and we're going to fade out right now. Okay. Bo is up to putt. And a little color of beer. Now they're going to put it in the bucket. This is a very difficult situation right now for Bo. He's having trouble with his tube. He has to pull it up. It's going to clean it a little bit. Make sure it doesn't get any. That's basic. I think that's iodine he's spraying on there. Basically no bacteria. Kills all the bacteria. IOFR. And it's in. It's good. So there he goes. And that's how they basically transfer it from the boiling pot to the primary fermenter. That's a big primary fermenter bucket. Wow, look at that thing.
Bleach will kill you. This is great if you feel this. The wort's coming out of the kettle at 206 degrees, and in here right now it's 64. Isn't that great? Yep.
I gotta see this.
Yeah. Some pretty cool stuff.
That's great. So when that fills up, all he has to do next is pitch the yeast, and then Bo will take to the back, and 2 weeks later after that, the customer can come back in, bottle his beer, drink it right on the spot if he wants to, because it'd be nice and ready to drink, and take it home, and there he is. But he has to be 21 to drink it, or actually to take it off the premises. So you 18-year-olds want to come in, you can come in and brew your beer, but then you have to wait till you're 21 to take it home. It's an important thing you have to remember.
You get to do all the hard work.
Yes, you get to do all the. You can have your parents come in and drink it. You can make a beer for your dad and have him come home or for his birthday, come and pick it up and just leave him a little note. That'd be good. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. It's okay. But we're going to take a break right now, and when we come back, we're going to say goodbye to Bo. And I hope you enjoyed this segment. And we'll be back in just a few. Bo and and we're going to wrap up the show now. I'd like to thank Bo for being a sport and letting us interfere with his customers and his work right now. Do you have any advice you want to give some new brewers out there, the home brewers that are experimenting, as far as going to a shop like this or on your own? Or
the best homebrew shops are going to be the ones that are going to be you're going to be able to call mid-brew and say, what do I do? And we try and help people out with that. We do custom recipes for people if they want them, and we try and help out our home brewers. Some of the most important things about home brewing for the new brewer is get the right equipment, be clean, and learn how to cool quickly.
So, okay. So this is Elvis and
Bo
at Brew It Up in Davis, California, and we'll see you later. And Brew It Up with Elvis and Guido, making beer with Elvis and Guido. So I just right now like to say this is the wrap-up of our show, and right now we're wanted your questions or comments on the show, and if you have any questions or comments for the show, we'd actually like you to give us a call at 669-1550. Tell us if you like it or you hate it. You just really don't want us to be on the show anymore. It's Woodland Public Access. Also, me and Guido are thinking about doing another show. It's called Making Food with Elvis and Guido, and it's going to be a variety of foods that we thought that would be very important to the human society and catering to all our tastes as individuals on this planet. So other than that, I'd like to say this has been another episode. My motto is, hey, drink up, cheers. See you later.